I am the commander of the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, as you might say. Previously, I commanded the Azov Regiment. We had a group of 15 people going in. Out of those 15, only 2 survived. I'm honestly shocked by your psychology, like ants. Who came here for money? Just to learn? Honestly, raise your hands. No judgment here. You have to understand this too. More and more people are raising their hands. As for the enemy, I have more respect for Wagner troops than for your regular army. Yours is just animals. In this episode, you will see a conversation between the commander of the 3rd Assault Brigade and the prisoners of war captured by the 3rd SAB in the Kharkiv direction. Among other things, the occupants told their stories about why they came to the war, how they were captured, their commander's attitude to them, combat situations, what the Russian army looks like from the inside, and many other interesting things. So, let's get to the point. Gentlemen, why are you staring at the floor? Or are you comrades? Are you gentlemen or comrades? Comrades. Huh? Comrades. The Soviet Union feels closer to you, right? Let's start with you. Which unit are you from? And no need to stand up. We're having a friendly conversation. You're comrades. I am the commander of the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, as you might say. Previously, I commanded the Azov Regiment. Do you have any complaints about the food? Honestly, are you being fed properly? Yes. Well, then speak normally, guys. If you're being fed well, you can speak like real men. You're men, soldiers. 4 people, and there's a 5th one. So the number of people with more or less the same story is the same. Either you don't understand where you're going, or at the positions marked on your map. It turns out that your supposed allies are actually the enemy. Does this happen often? Raise your hand if you've experienced something similar. Look, why are you lowering your hand? So for about half of you, the story is the same. We were just 2 of us. How does this even happen? Please explain this to me, gentlemen, or comrades, as we agreed. So you're sent, and what planning? What kind of briefing do you get before going on a combat mission? I didn't get any. They just told me, go there. How do you go? By what? By a map? Do you navigate by the stars? I'm genuinely curious. There are so many of you, I just don't get it. I can't remember a single soldier from my side who ended up captured this way. We were just told, go straight. You'll find a dugout. Our guys are there. They'll explain everything. We went, found it. And then we explained everything to you. They just said, go to the smoke. There's a trench. Yes, they used the smoke as a guide. Okay, then tell us your sad story. I was stationed at secured positions. We never left them. Then they pulled us out to other positions. At first, they said it was for a maintenance day. Then they pulled us out to other positions. They just told us to go down, that no one was there, and that we should take up defensive positions and wait for reinforcements, which would come soon. We went down, and as it turned out, they weren't our guys, so we surrendered our weapons. We surrendered. Got it. And you? I'm a medic. In early December, we moved from Ternov, where we were stationed, to... I forget the name of the place, but that's where we were captured. The task assigned to me as a medic was to work with the company, receive the wounded, provide assistance, and prepare them for evacuation. We arrived on the 8th and took the outermost dugout. On the morning of the 9th, I was sent forward without weapons, just with medical supplies, because supposedly there were 300. I arrived at the position. Yes, there was a wounded man. I provided assistance. Then came the order, move forward. Everyone, except the wounded, they were sent back. but the rest were told to move forward. There's no one there. The drone will guide you. In the end, everyone got scared, but I went forward alone, following the drone. I went forward, got into trouble, and ended up under fire. Eventually, I stayed on an abandoned position from the 9th to the 13th. On the 13th, I decided, whatever happens, happens. I went out and surrendered. All right, I heard your conditions, and as a medic, tell me, what do you have for stopping massive limb bleeding? Tourniquets or S-March bandages? Bandages. S-March bandages? Yes. There are also tourniquets, but there are few of them. Well, I'll let you in on a small secret, gentlemen. I have no intention of persuading you. I'm not interested. I'm honestly shocked by your psychology, like ants. The effectiveness of a tourniquet compared to an S-March bandage is 5 times higher, which means your chance of dying or losing a limb with an S-March bandage compared to a tourniquet is enormous. All right, how long is your basic training on average? 2 weeks? 10 days? 3 days? 3 days for you. Where did you do that? What kind of training ground? In Rogovo. So they brought you to Ukraine territory. You did your basic training there, and then sent you to fight, right? Interesting. I shot 15 magazines. Well, not bad. Plus, we also fired from the RPK and RPG. So they trained you properly with all these weapons, typical for those stationed at squad-level position. And what did they teach you in 3 days, I wonder? Nothing. They just showed us what a tourniquet and bandage look like. Weren't you scared to go into battle if you didn't know anything? And what was your motivation? We were scared, but they just told us, go. So the 2 of us went. We crossed a river, and they said, if you try to go back, your own will shoot you. How many of you came from prisons, detention centers, or similar places? Raise your hands. Not that many, actually. Not that many. The rest are volunteers. And you, noble elder gentlemen, how did you end up in the war? I'm a volunteer. What's your motivation? Well, even if I weren't an ideologically motivated person, you radically destroyed my hometown of Kharkiv. You destroyed the village where my ancestors lived, which they built. We were among the founders, back when the Zaporozhian Sich was disbanded. My family, in several settlements of southern Kharkiv region, you destroyed a house that even survived the Barvinkov cauldron, which my close relatives were forced to be a part of. And what's your motivation? What is yours? Financial? Financial. Who came for the money? Just to earn some extra cash? Honestly, raise your hands. No judgment here. More and more people are raising their hands. War is also a job. So, who, honestly? Because of probation. And the rest? If it's not probation or money, then for what? The truth is, it's either prison or war. There is not much choice. And is it true or not that they are now trying to fill prisons for any nonsense just to send people here later? Yes, it's true. Sorry to interrupt. They overcrowd prisons, creating conditions that are impossible to endure. Each prison has a quota, a number of people they must send to war. They do it by any means, fair or foul. Or if you committed a crime while free, the police immediately offer you the option of going to war. And now you can even be recruited from pre-trial detention, right? Before it was only from prisons. They don't really ask for your opinion. I have a similar story with my brother. My own brother and I went together on December 11. His charge was under Article 264, related crime. They told him either this or that, so we went together, and that's it. He died on a mission. I was injured and had to surrender. And what about those whom Datsik took? It's you? Yes, that was us. 6 people. Were you treated well? Did they just come and take you away? Yes, smooth. Everything smooth. By the book. This was a story that deserves a script for a Hollywood movie. The full video of this operation, adapted for English-speaking viewers, will soon appear on our second channel, Resonance. Don't miss it. The link is in the description. I'll explain briefly. Datsik's group pretended to be Russians who had made a mistake and accidentally attacked their own. The occupiers realized too late that they had already been captured. I suggested to the group to act out a scene, like we were servicemen of the Russian Federation storming the positions of Ukrainians. And we started shouting, "Kokols, surrender, come out!" The guys are all shouting in Russian. Sure, it was a bit broken. "Kokols, surrender! Guys, surrender!" "No, we're Russians, bro," they started yelling. "It's us. What are you attacking us for?" And we said we didn't believe them. "To the right. Come, lie down. Welcome to Ukraine." All right, it's hard to talk to you honestly. Honestly, I don't understand you at all. I listen to you intercepted communications, mostly the important stuff, or sometimes the funny ones. A man was speaking, I think a company commander. He tells his sergeant, make 200s of 2 old people because they're old and can't keep up. And the sergeant says he'll do it in the morning, but for now, let them carry the heavy crates as they're slowing the group down. Yesterday, there was a perfect interception, the best interception of my life. 3 assault soldiers left their position. Your command had already marked these people as 200, but they survived. And command said, "Don't upset the headquarters chief by these papers. Just take care of with them." This is idiocy. If something like this happened to me, my entire guard would have been scattered. If people found out such things could happen, but you don't scatter, you keep moving forward. There are positions where you just march over a carpet of corpses. Have you ever come across a situation where you entered and it really looked like a carpet covered with corpses? Yes, there was. I asked when the 3rd Assault Brigade captured us, how many are there in the field? 700 bodies? In the forest line I walked through, there were also about 300 bodies lying there. Well, men, you need to do something about your lives. You'll bring disaster upon yourselves and us as well. We have nowhere to run. We are caught between 2 fires. Either we go here, or our own will shoot us. I'm listening to your stories. Do you think your command is misleading you? That's an understatement. What would you want to say to them right now, honestly? We had 15 people going to assault, and out of those 15 people, only 2 were left alive. In just 12 hours, there was no one left. They sent me to the red zone for fortification, without food, without water. I'd asked them to enter the same way I did. I went under gunfire, under mortars and drone strikes. I understood that I was a convict, that I would be used as cannon fodder. But in reality, when our group was given 3 magazines, 4 packs of ammunition, and 2 grenades and sent to storm a bunker, after we couldn't take the bunker, we fell back with the losses and settled with a fortification group. They didn't pull us out, even though we had nothing. We were hungry, sleepy. There were only 2 of us left, and they just handed us over to another commander who had people. Use them as you see fit. Out of 2 platoons that were shredded to pieces, maybe 5 people survived. So tell me, where did you serve before this? Wagner, PMC. Ah, it's you. You were in Zaporizhia, in Bakhmut. Where exactly in Bakhmut, do you remember? Around Klishchivka or? Klishchivka, yes. Near the railroad tracks, behind the garages there. See, we're old acquaintances. We entered there in January and around February, near Klishchivka. There were very intense battles. As for enemies, I have, let's say, more respect for Wagner than for your regular army. Because objectively, there was a lot of cannon fodder, but they tried to act rationally. They didn't spare people, but they conserved them to some extent. Your army has now adapted Wagner's tactics, but the competence? Zero. Nothing. By the way, did you receive those wonderful payments of yours? Well, we had prisoners who said their commanders took their bank cards and PIN codes. I wouldn't have even thought of such a thing. 70% like this. Also, at the military commensurate, before issuing the cards, they linked them to their own phones. That didn't happen in my group. So it turns out to be profitable for them that you become 200. You will be on the unit's roster for a few more weeks, and the commanders will withdraw your money. No one will suspect. Now let's switch to a more lyrical topic. Are you being fed well, treated fairly, and so on? Yes, of course. I didn't promise you a resort here. But you're being fed no worse than in your military units, right? Much better. Objectively, much better. Seriously? Better than in my unit. That's funny. All right, gentlemen. Even though I shouldn't wish you anything, I still sincerely wish that you survived this war in captivity. Live through it. Maybe, God willing, you'll bring some truth back to your beautiful country. I honestly don't understand why your people treat others this way. I'm not saying everything is perfect on our side, but still, it's rare to see such cruelty as I've seen from your commanders. There are those I respect, like Wagner fighters or the 134th Airborne, with whom we've had tough battles. I sincerely acknowledge that they have good commanders. But yours? It's pure cruelty. A person who treats another like that is no longer human. That's all for now. Thank you. You're welcome.